been a minute since I posted on this channel, and want to apologize to my followers for that. I want to talk briefly today about goals. And as a former athlete, football player, running track, we had some goals set, but I'm going to kind of focus on goals and draw an analogy between goal setting and football for the most part. And we have to ask ourselves, what are our goals? You know, in today's society, when we talk to people and we mention the word goals, a lot of times people are thinking in terms of sports. You know, we have football goals, you have basketball goals, you have hockey goals, soccer goals. I mean, you get the picture. And the reason most people actually talk about goals in those terms is because they haven't set any personal goals. And if we look at goals, we're used to others setting our goals for us. When we were kids, our parents told us what our goals should be. We went to school and our teachers and school administrators told us what our goals should be. You know, your counselors sit you down, especially when you get to high school, and draw out that 4-year plan. And what happens when you get to high school, for the most part, when they lay out that 4-year plan, they're trying to force you into a college-bound culture. Now, you have some students that are not going to go into college after high school, and some don't even have that goal to attend college after high school. Some want to go to a technical school. Some want to learn a trade. Some want to go to the military. But what we see in the school system now is they're trying to force everybody to have goals for college. Now, once we leave high school or college, we go to a job, and the boss tells us the goals of the company. And we buy into this whole system our entire lives. And life ends up passing us by, and then we turn around age 35, 45, 55, and wonder where life went. Now, for those of you who haven't reached those ages yet, you know, I'm not talking to you, because if you're listening to it and you're younger than those ages, you know, you still have time to set some goals. And even if you're 55, 65, you can still set some goals because you're still living. So that means your life is not done yet. And so we realize as life progresses, there are some things we wanted to do, and we never accomplished those things. I remember reading a quote by Benjamin Franklin years ago, said most men die at age 25, but they don't put the body in the ground until 65 or 70. And what Ben Franklin was talking about was we lost the capacity to dream big dreams, to set goals for our life, set goals for our family, set goals in every area of our life for the most part. What would our lives live like if we could live with no regrets? The best way to ensure we live with no regrets is to set some goals for ourselves. And as an athlete who played football, as I mentioned, I like to paint a picture of goal accomplishment like a football field. You know, I played football in elementary, middle school. I played football in high school, and for a while in college as well. And when we look at a football field, the field is 100 yards long regardless of where you are. And let's look at goal setting in terms of 100 yards. On both ends of the football field, there are goal posts. In between those goal posts, there are yard markers. There are 1-yard markers, 5-yard markers, and 10-yard markers. And there's also a 50-yard marker to let you know there's a halfway point, and then you have the 100-yard marker. Can you get the picture? You know, you ought to be seeing this picture in your head right now, especially with NFL preseason starting up, high school starting up, colleges starting up, and Little League as well. So I know you can see that picture right now because some of you have some favorite NFL teams you like to follow. Now place your goals in that context. At the end of the field is your ultimate goal, the end zone. But in between the end zone, you have a starting point, and you have the opposing end zone and the goal line. And within that 100 yards, there are many obstacles that are going to come in your way, get in your way. There are 11 known obstacles in the way of accomplishing your dream. Those are the opposing team members. There's also the length of the field that looks like a mountain in front of us because it looks like a long way to the other end. And, you know, I said you have 11 obstacles, opposing teammates that are trying to stop you from reaching the end zone. I remember my 12th grade year in high school, we were playing school out in North Houston, and one of our defensive linemen recovered a fumble and picked it up and made a dash toward the end zone. And nobody was in close proximity of him. And the dude fell in the middle of the field. A blade of grass tripped him up, so we didn't get that touchdown. And we chided that guy all the way back to the school that night, and for the next several days after that. So what we do is we break down how we're going to score a touchdown into several different plays. Because face it, you're not going to get 100 yards every time you touch the ball. We receive the ball, and we have to figure out how we're going to get to the other end to score a touchdown, to get between those goal posts. So we go into the huddle if we're on offense, and we devise a play. We come out of the huddle, and we run the play. We go for 2 yards. We go back to the huddle, and we call another play. And we come out, and we run, or we throw, and we get 5 yards. We go back to the huddle once again. We call another play, and we gain 3 yards. Now we have a first down because, you know, of course, it takes 10 yards to get a new set of downs. We call the next play, and we get 9 yards, and we go back to the huddle. We call the next play, and then we lose 15 yards. And we go back to the huddle once again. We regroup. We gain another 10 yards. Well, at this point, we have to punt the ball away so we can go to our sidelines, go to our desk, go to our table, and regroup and figure out, okay, where did we go wrong in achieving that goal this time? So we go back to the sideline or the desk and we say, okay, this is what I need to do next time. And so after we regroup, we get another chance. And we receive the ball again. If the other team scored, they kick off to us. If they didn't score, they punt it to us. But either way, we receive the ball, unless we got an interception or a fumble. And so we receive the ball, and we call a play on offense again. A teammate gets hurt, and we have to replace him with someone who's a backup. You know, it happens. It happens all the time. Very next play, you get the wind knocked out of you. So you have to go to the sideline for a minute so you can regroup yourself. And so you end up having to punt the ball away again. You know, that's like going, at the end of the day, you say, okay, I didn't accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish today, so I'm going to go home. I'm going to have dinner with my spouse, enjoy some time, quality time and quantity time with my kids. And once the evening settles down, I'm going to say, okay, let me look at what my plans were for the day that I didn't accomplish. And so I'm going to make some adjustments. I'm going to go to sleep on it, and then I'm going to get up the next day and go back. And so we're on the sidelines, or we're at home regrouping, and now the next day comes and we have to play offense again. And see, that's part of the problem too. We spend the majority of our lives on the defensive instead of on the offensive side of the ball. We need to be on the offensive, because when you're on defense, you have to always be in a position of reacting, or be in a reactive position instead of a proactive position. See, when you're on offense, the defense has to try to figure out what you're doing. And so we call a play and we run it. And we get 5 yards for every play that we run this time. And we score a touchdown. And we get, we break it down. And we get to the 50-yard line. I got ahead of myself. We get to the 50-yard line. We're halfway to the goal that we set. And now it's time to continue to see which plays have been working for us up to that point. And we need to do that. We need to figure out, okay, what did I do that worked for me, and what did I do that hindered me? And so around this time, we're going to actually probably experience some of the same things we experienced in the first few series of downs when the game started. You know, you're going to have some heartaches. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some roadblocks. That's just part of the game. And that's normal in the course of pursuing our goals and our dreams. And after all of this, we move closer and closer to the end zone. Now the goal posts are within in our sight and within our reach. And so we start to develop a stronger sense of purpose so we can score. And so we want to reach the goal because it's closer to our sight. We can see it. See, when you started out at your own end zone, that other goalpost looked a mile away. But as you get closer, you cross that 50, that goal is in sight. And so we scored a touchdown. We reached the end zone, and we've accomplished our goal for that moment. Because as soon as you accomplish one goal, we need to be in the process of setting a new one. Because if we don't, we'll keep trying to relive that accomplishment that we just experienced. And we see a lot of teams do that. End up maybe scoring no points for the game or 7 points for the game, and that's it. And the other school or other team learns how to react better than we proact. And you know, I heard Miles Monroe say one time, the greatest detriment to our future success is our last success. And that meant what he meant by that is we keep reliving over and over again that last accomplishment. And so we've accomplished our goal. The only way we're going to continue to score touchdowns is we have to keep running plays. And the only way we're going to stop scoring touchdowns is we have to stop running plays. And as we look back on what I just talked about, the short-term goals were the 2 and the 5 yard markers until we reached our mid-term goal, which was the 50-yard line. And as we reached the 50-yard line, we made it halfway there. And since we're halfway there, there's no need to turn back now. I mean, it's the same distance backwards and forward. So why not go forward? And so what we need to do is focus on the end zone in front of us and not the end zone behind us. And it's going to take several more short-term goals to reach the next halfway point, which is the final destination, the end zone, which is the long-term goal.